Good morning, girls. Welcome to the subject of English language. In the previous week, we started the chapter number 3, Work Brings Solace, in which the chapter is giving you an idea about the APJ Abdul Kalam. This extract is taken from the biography Wings of Fire. We already discussed about APJ Kalam was the 11th president of India, and he served his service in the year of 2002 to 2007. Later on, we have found out he has been conferred numerous awards including the Padma Bhushan and the Bharat Ratna. Despite his great achievements, we all know that being a person, he was quite simple and having the quality of humility. He has also done a lot of work for polio affected children by introducing lightweight calipers, and he is the brilliant example of having a successful career, and he has achieved through his hard work. The story, particularly an essay, Work Brings Solace, that is an essay. In the extract, in this part particularly, Dr. Kalam describes his experience meeting von Braun. We understood everything related to this famous German scientist in the last lecture, who has created missile that devastated, destroyed London during World War II. The talk they share leads to Dr. Kalam, and Dr. Kalam has appreciated the power of work, or particularly what is flow and what is commitment. And if we work as per our expectation, and that gives us ultimately happiness. So this particular essay offers an insight on Dr. Kalam's work ethics. આ બધું જ આપણે જોયું હતું. Then after we started the chapter in which page number 110, that Kalam was returning from France after the successful testing of SLV-3, that is Satellite Launch Vehicle 3, apogee motor. Dr. Brahma Prakash, who has informed him that von Braun would be visiting at Thumba, so he has to pick him up in Madras. Then there was a part in the very first part of the essay that is whole about the von Braun. Now, who is von Braun, who has made the lethal V2 missile that devastated London in World War II? Then after we found out von Braun was captured by the Allied forces as the tribute to his genius. Von Braun was given a top position in the rocketry program at NASA. He has also worked for the US Army. આપણે જોયું હતું કે એમણે US Army માટે પણ કામ કરેલું છે. And he has produced landmark Jupiter missile, which was the first IRBM with the 3000 kilometer range. Then after we saw about his achievement, like von Braun particularly has achieved the V2 missile was by far the greatest single achievement in the history of rocket and missiles. Then about the efforts of von Braun cannot only be considered, but his team has also worked hard for him. And then after he had begun as a civilian effort. Soon he became an official army one, and von Braun became the technical director of the German missile laboratory at Kummersdorf. This all information provided on page number 111, second paragraph. Then after first V2 missile was tested unsuccessfully in June 1942, so it toppled over onto its side and exploded. But on 16 August 1942, it became the first missile to exceed the speed of the sound. So he was literally having an excitement, a fear that Abdul Kalam was literally having a hesitation that he would be traveling with such a man who is not only a scientist, designer, production engineer, administrator, technology manager, all rolled into one. Then the journey between them started from Madras to Trivandrum, the Avro aircraft in which he brought von Braun, and that journey completed within 90 minutes from Madras to Trivandrum. During the flight, von Braun asked about his work, and he listened as if he was von Braun and Kalam when they were talking to each other. At the time, Kalam was listening to him as if he was the student of rocketry and he was learning new things from him. I never expected the father of modern rocketry to be so humble, receptive, and encouraging. He even made the journey so comfortable during the travel of flight. Then he asked about the situation of US, like how did he feel in the US. એવું અબ્દુલ કલામ એમને પૂછે છે. Then he answered like, because he was become, or he has become rather a cult figure in America after creating the Saturn rocket in the Apollo mission. Apollo મિશનમાં સેટર્ન રોકેટ બનાવનાર વોન બ્રોન એ અમેરિકામાં બહુ જ પ્રખ્યાત માણસ તરીકે ઓળખાતા હતા. Then he said about America, like America is a country of great possibilities. They always look upon everything. They never do things or take things for granted. America or American who is always feeling suspicion about every attempt, and they check twice before they implement. They suffer from a deep-rooted NIH, not invented here, kind of a complex American people possess, and look down on alien technologies. If you want to do anything in rocketry, do it yourself. Von Braun ખૂબ સરસ વાક્ય કહે છે. If you want to do anything in rocketry, then do it with yourself only. Von Braun advised me about that. He continued, SLV-3 is a genuine Indian design, and you may be having your own troubles. But you should always remember that one doesn't build on successes only, one builds on failure also. So mere hard work will not give you honor, but along with hard work, smart work is needed, and that will fetch you honor. Then after, Abdul Kalam has focused on particularly the goal that makes the difference in everyone's life. And even it is said on 112 page number, like, do not make rocketry your profession or your livelihood, make it your religion, your mission. Up till that, I think we discussed. Now we have to go for the next part. This is the second part of the chapter. Did I see something of Professor Vikram Sarabhai in Von Herman Braun? It made me happy to think so. Yes, he was making comparison with Vikram Sarabhai. Vikram Sarabhai with Von Herman Braun. Did he find out anything similar? And yes, he was having the similarity about the nature, about the humanity, about the work ethics, and that had made him so happy. With 3 deaths in the family in as many years, I needed total commitment to my hard work in order to keep performing. Now, girls, this part is revealing an idea about the personal aspects related to the Kalam. In a family માં 3 લોકોના મૃત્યુ થઈ જાય છે. And with that kind of diversions, disturbances, he needed total commitment into his work. In order to keep performing, he has to go with the proper focus. I wanted to throw all my being into creative the SLV. He has to give full focus to the SLV in creating SLV, that is satellite launch vehicle. During this period, it was as though I had pushed a hold button on my life. He was not in contact with anyone. He was constantly working in his own laboratory for longer period of, constantly for hours and hours. No badminton in the evenings, no more weekends or holidays, no family, no relations, not even any friends outside the SLV circle. Total focus was only given to the SLV. So this is what the scientist needed all the time in his approach. He has to make his approach. He has to use his productive time. Then and then only one can achieve up to the target. To succeed in your mission, what Dr. Kalam has said, to succeed in your mission, you must have single-minded devotion to your goal. Single-minded devotion. સિંગલ-માઇન્ડેડ ડિવોશન એટલે એવા પ્રકારનું ડિવોશન કે એવું તમારી કામની નિષ્ઠા કે જે તમને સતત ધ્યેય સુધી પહોંચાડવામાં મદદરૂપ કરે. Individuals like myself are often called workaholics. મારા જેવા વ્યક્તિઓને શું કહે છે તો કે workaholics. Yes. I question this term because that implies an illness. Some may say can be an illness. Constantly, if you work and work, then you may become ill mentally. If I work towards that which I desire more than anything else in the world and which also make me happy, how can it be considered an aberration? That is a kind of a characteristic that deviates from the normal type. Normal people, what they do, they take 8 hours of sleep, they do their lunch, dinner, whatever, they follow their routine. But what he was doing, rather, he was becoming a different, he was living a kind of a different life. Why? Because he was constantly focused. The desire to work at optimum capacity, that is maximum capacity. When you have the desire to work with maximum capacity, that leaves hardly any room, any space for anything else. That doesn't allow anyone to interrupt. You are in your own world. You live in your own world. You stay in your own world and you constantly work, talk and had a discussion with yourself. I have had people with me who would scoff at the 40 hours a week job they would paid for. I have also known others who worked 60, 80 and even 100 hours a week because they found their work exciting and rewarding. મેં એવા પણ લોકો જોયા છે કે જે અઠવાડિયાના 40-40 કલાકો કામ કરે છે, કે જેમને કલાકો કામ કરવા માટેના એટલા કલાકો મળતા હોય છે. He also knew such people who can work for 60, 80 and 100 hours a week. એને એવા લોકો પણ જોયા છે કે જે 100 કલાક સુધી કામ કરી શકે છે. Because of their excitement, because of their workaholic nature, because of their knowledge gaining ability, right? And that only you can give with the help of total commitment. That is the common denominator among all successful men and women. That denominate you, that differentiates you from becoming ordinary to from becoming extraordinary to ordinary. Once you have done this, charged yourself as it were with your commitment to your work, you also need good health and boundless energy. Without that you cannot do. Climbing to the top demands strength, whether to the top of Mount Everest or to the top of your career. To keep yourself on the top position, it's not an easy task for all the time. You need strength, you need your good health, you need boundless energy, and the combination that gives you proper productivity. And for that you need to charge yourself constantly, and that comes only with the help of commitment. So this was the part related to the commitment. Now the next part is related to the flow. What is flow? Flow is an overwhelming and joyous experience while working. It is a sensation we experience when we act with total involvement. What is flow? It is an overwhelming and joyous experience. આપણા અંદરનો પ્રવાહ કે જે આપણા ઉત્સાહથી વધે છે, જે અનુભવથી આપણને વધારે ઉત્સાહી બનાવે છે. While working, whenever we work, whenever we do something, right, it's our internal energy, our overwhelmingness. It is a sensation that we experience with our total involvement. During flow, action follows action according to an internal logic. There seem to be no need of conscious intervention on the part of the worker. Yes, you to be alone, you need no intervention from the side of anyone, no interruption. There is no hurry and there are no distracting demands on one's attention. There is no hurry when you are doing something new, and no distracting demands of one's attention. The distinction between self and the activity disappears. All of us working on SLV were experiencing flow. Kalam was having such a enthusiastic team, and they worked constantly for SLV, and they were having an experience of flow. Although we were working very hard, we were very relaxed, energetic and fresh. How did it happen? Who had created this flow? Perhaps it was the fact that the difficult targets we had set actually seemed achievable. You have to set certain level of standards for your achievement. If you do not do, then you will not be getting the right result. And they were working hard, they were still feeling relaxed, having lots of energy and freshness, and they were getting out of their work only. How did it happen? When you work for hours and hours, then you will certainly get yourself tired. But they were not feeling. Why it happened? It was a kind of a flow in which they were working. Perhaps it was the fact that the difficult targets we had to set, and that will only come with the proper commitment. When SLV3 hardware started emerging, Our ability to concentrate increased markedly when they were almost on the edge of completion of SLV3 hardware. Then their productivity were increased. Their ability to concentrate or concentration of themselves increased. I felt a tremendous surge of confidence. He became more confident. I was in complete control over myself and over the SLV3 project. This is what the mental balance is. You need to balance both the things, emotion as well as action. He was having the control over himself, and due to that, he was giving proper focus to the SLV3 project. The first requirement to get into flow is to work as hard as you can at something that presents a challenge. Do something challenging. What is said when you can get flow in your work ability? When you do something challenging. It may not be an overwhelming challenge, but one that stretches you a little. Something that makes you realize that you are performing a task better today than you did yesterday or the last time you tried to do it. It is like on day by day you are improving yourself, and that will give that will stretch yourself little more. In in case of performance, you would be able to perform a task better than you have performed earlier. Another prerequisite, 113 page number, for being in flow is the availability of a significant span of uninterrupted time, constant connection with yourself, constant focus that you have to do in your work. You should not be interrupted by anyone. You get uninterrupted timing of hours and hours in which you can do what? That is the major one of the prerequisites, Purva Sharat, to bring flow in the work culture. In my experience, it is difficult to switch into the flow state in less than half an hour. It is difficult to switch into the flow state in less than half an hour, and it is almost impossible if you are disturbed constantly. So, if you allow disturbances, then you will lose the focus. I have experienced this state many times, almost every day of the SLV3 mission. સતત પોતાની જાત સાથે અને કામ સાથે લગાવો. He had personally experienced this during SLV3. They have been days in the laboratory when I have looked up to find the laboratory empty and realized that it was way past my work hours. કલાકોના કલાકો જ્યારે લેબોરેટરીમાં એ લોકો કામ કરતા, in that case he was having this experience that he did not have realization of hours and hours timing that he has passed. On other days, what they feel. My team members and I have been so caught up in our work that the launch hours slipped by without our even being conscious that we were hungry. They were continuously working and they did not realize about what, like they did not take their food. They were so hungry, and before the lunch hours they did not sleep, they did not eat. Continuously, consciously they were working. So this is what the involvement that you are supposed to make with your work. That is the flow that you can bring with the uninterrupted time. And here the chapter ends. So I hope that you understood the chapter fully, and you can revise the video to revise the chapter, and we'll continue with the next on tomorrow related to this chapter's question answers. Thank you very much, girls, and have a nice day.